In the last video, we talked about something most people don't question: the difference between sight and vision. Sight reacts, vision interprets. Sight sees what is obvious, vision looks for what is not immediately visible. And that difference changes how you experience your entire life. But that leads to a deeper question. If vision is so important, why do so many people struggle to develop it? Why does life still feel confusing, overwhelming, or misaligned, even when you are trying to be more aware? The answer is simple, but not always obvious. Vision is not something you are automatically given, it is something that is formed, shaped over time through how you process what you experience. Most people assume that seeing more means understanding more information, more content, more exposure. But more input does not guarantee clarity. In many cases, it creates more noise. So the issue is not a lack of information, it is how that information is being processed. Vision is formed in the space between experience and interpretation. That small space most people skip. Something happens and meaning is assigned immediately. No pause, no reflection, no questioning, just conclusion. Over time, those quick conclusions start to build patterns of thought, patterns of belief, patterns of expectation. And once those patterns are formed, they begin to shape how you see everything else. This is how vision is formed, but not always in a conscious way. Let's make this real. You experience rejection once, the moment passes, but the meaning stays. People don't choose me. Another situation happens later, different context, same interpretation. And over time, that interpretation becomes a lens, not just something you think occasionally, but something you see through consistently. That is how vision is formed by default, not intentionally, but repeatedly. So when people say they feel stuck, what they are often experiencing is not just a difficult situation, it is a fixed way of seeing, a way of seeing that no longer gets questioned. That is where the real shift begins. Not in trying to control everything outside, but in becoming aware of how your inner lens was built. Vision is not just about what you see now, it is about what has been shaping how you see for a long time. There are three things that quietly shape your vision: your past experiences, your repeated interpretations, and your unexamined assumptions. Your past experiences give you reference points. What felt safe, what felt painful, what felt successful. Your repeated interpretations turn those experiences into meaning, and your assumptions hold those meanings in place without being questioned. That combination becomes your lens. So even when something new happens, you are not seeing it freshly. You are seeing it through what has already been formed. That's why two people can hear the same words and understand completely different things. That is why one situation can feel like pressure to one person and opportunity to another, not different reality, different vision. This is also why simply thinking positive does not solve the problem. Surface level thinking does not change the patterns. You cannot replace a lens by ignoring it. You have to see it first. So, how does vision begin to change? Not by adding more information, but by slowing down interpretation. The moment something happens, there's usually an immediate meaning that comes with it. Instead of accepting that meaning instantly, you pause. You ask yourself, what else could this mean? Not as a way to avoid reality, but as a way to expand it. That question alone begins to create space. And in that space, new understanding can form. Another shift happens when you start noticing repetition, not just what happens to you, but how you keep interpreting what happens. The same type of conclusion, the same emotional reaction, the same assumption. That repetition is not random, it is a pattern. And patterns reveal what your current vision is built on. Once you start seeing the pattern, you can begin to question it, not aggressively, not forcefully, but honestly. Is this the only way to see this? Or is this the way I've learned to see it? That distinction matters. One keeps you stuck, the other opens your vision. Develops when you stop assuming your first interpretation is final. When you allow space for meaning to evolve instead of locking it in immediately. This does not make life slower in a negative way, it makes it clearer. You begin to respond instead of react. You begin to observe instead of conclude. And over time, your lens starts to change. Not overnight, but consistently. And once your lens changes, you your experience follows. Not everything will shift immediately, but how you engage with it will. Situations that once felt overwhelming start to feel understandable. Things that once felt like dead ends start to feel like information. And gradually, you begin to trust your ability to see clearly. That trust is important. It changes how you move, how you decide, how you respond. So the goal is not to see more things, it is to see more clearly. And clarity does not come from rushing, it comes from space, awareness, and honest questioning. In the next part, we go even deeper. Not not just how vision is formed, but how it gets distorted and how you can start separating what is real from what you have simply gotten used to believing.